Welcome to a fashion doll shoes tutorial.
This time I'm going to make a latex mold for a heel, and this is the master of the heels I used for Miss Piggy's boots. I had a mold for these. It was a latex mold and I had used it for plaster casting, but when I used it for resin casting it got torn, so I don't have a mold for this design anymore, and I'm going to make a new one. And I have glued this master to a piece of cardstock and then applied glossy sealer all over. The reason of doing it in that order is that when you apply the sealer after gluing the piece to the cardstock, the sealer will close any gaps here and the edges of the hole in the mold will be neater that way. And I've got latex here and hopefully it hasn't dried. It was fairly bad already last time. Well, it's thick, but it should be still usable. So I'll just apply the first layer of latex here all over, and you can see it's thick, but it should still work. And then I'm going to make a base around like this. The idea with this is that when you have this excess here around the actual piece, you can use the mold so that you make a hole in a piece of cardboard, a hole that is shaped like this master, and then you put the mold to that hole and these parts will keep it there, and then you can just pour the plaster or resin in and put the cardboard on some sort of supports, so the mold will hang freely in the hole that's in the cardboard, and it will keep its shape best that way. It doesn't work for the tubular molds you use for doll feet, but it does work for these smaller ones. And now I'm going to let that dry and then apply a second coat of latex and probably also a third one. 3 coats are usually enough for something like this. Here I have a dry latex mold. It's still in place. There's 3 layers of latex in it, and now I'm going to remove it from the master and this piece of cardstock. So, why isn't it coming out? Trying to get rid of that powder out of there and just spread it all over the latex surface to keep it from sticking. This one will be for plaster castings, so as I'm removing it, I'm going to put a powder also to the other side. And removing this is really easy. You just need to lift it from one edge and then pull, and it will come off quite nicely. And then more powder. I'll spread it everywhere so the surfaces won't get stuck to each other. And then turning it. And this is actually the second one. I already made one, so now I have two molds. I can cast a pair of heels at the same time. It's always easier because it's easier to mix larger batches of plaster, so it's better to have both molds so you can use them at the same time. And now I'm going to zoom a bit closer to show you a little detail. Here I have the new mold and one I have made previously, and if you compare the edges of the holes, you can see that this is uneven, the edge here around this hole, and that is because the master was only glued to the cardstock. No sealer was used to close the gaps around the edges, so some of the latex went between the master and the cardstock. But with this heel mold I applied the glossy sealer on the master when it was glued to the cardstock, so the gaps were closed, and as you can see the edges of the hole are much neater this way. And in case you're wondering about the number of videos about molds and mold making and using molds, that's because I'm trying to finish the chapter about making and using molds, and that means I need to try all sorts of stuff to figure out the best ways of doing things so I can put those in the book. I know most of the things I need to put there, but I want to test some things, and one of them is a very special kind of version of this mold, but I'll be talking about that in another video.